Welcome back to Throttle Tribe. Getting older doesn't mean hanging up the helmet, it means choosing a bike that's easy to ride, looks classic, and treats your back right. Today, we're featuring vintage motorcycles that are light, comfortable, and built for cruising with soft suspension, low seats, and timeless style. Number 15, BMW R75. If you're a senior rider looking for a motorcycle that rides like a sofa but still turns heads like a rock star, then the BMW R75 might just be your forever bike. Built between 1970 and 1973, this motorcycle wasn't just a product of precision engineering, it was a statement of refinement. Everything about it screams effortless control and confidence on the road, especially for those of us who believe comfort is king. The R75/5 comes with a 745cc boxer twin engine, delivering a smooth, low-vibration ride that's just as happy cruising country roads as it is gliding through small towns. No awkward shifting, no buzzing handlebars, just pure horizontal twin-cylinder ease. It's got that black and chrome German charm with polished metal, round mirrors, and a classic teardrop tank. You're not just riding a motorcycle, you're riding a moving piece of art. Are you ready to meet the next vintage bike on this list? Number 14, Honda CM400T. If you're the kind of rider who believes motorcycles should be comfortable, dependable, and just a little bit stylish without screaming for attention, the Honda CM400T might be your new favorite discovery. Built during the late 1970s and early 80s, this vintage twin was designed for riders who wanted easy seat time, minimal fuss, and a touch of class. And for senior riders, it checks every box with quiet confidence. At the heart of the CM400T is a 400cc parallel twin tuned for smooth torque and gentle power delivery. It's not built to race, it's built to glide. You'll never feel rushed, and the gentle roll-on of power makes it ideal for riders who want to take in the sights without being tossed around by aggressive throttle response. The 5-speed transmission is light and crisp, and even today, it's known for shifting like butter. Another huge plus, bulletproof Honda reliability. The CM400T doesn't ask for much. A little maintenance here, a bit of fuel there, and it'll start up every time with a satisfying hum. It's the kind of bike that feels like it was made for daily joy rides, not constant tinkering. And speaking of something that's definitely not rare, a Kawasaki. One of them looks so vintage, it's truly a blast from the past. Is that something you'd like to ride? Number 13, Moto Guzzi V7. For senior riders who want something that stands out without shouting, the Moto Guzzi V7 might be the perfect pick. It has that unmistakable European styling, but none of the quirks that usually come with owning something exotic. What it offers instead is a ride that feels refined, relaxed, and deeply satisfying, even on longer journeys. Let's start with the engine, a 744cc transverse V-twin. Unlike most twins, this one sits sideways, giving the bike its signature look and a soft, rhythmic pulsing that many riders describe as soothing, even therapeutic. The torque comes on early and smoothly, meaning you won't have to work hard to keep moving. No jerky surges, no awkward gear hunting, just a flat, confident delivery that feels natural, especially if you've been riding for years and appreciate the flow. Seat height is modest and the riding triangle is just about perfect. The pegs are never too high, the bars are never too far, and the result is a riding posture that your chiropractor would approve of. The V7 isn't a bike that asks much of you. It lets you enjoy the ride, not endure it. What makes this bike particularly nice for older riders is how well-mannered it is. Even in city traffic, it never feels clunky or top-heavy. Out on a country road, it glides like a gentleman in a tuxedo. One 68-year-old owner put it best. It feels like an old friend who never asks for much but always makes me feel better. If you've made it this far, you clearly have excellent taste in motorcycles. So, do yourself a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. Some bikes are quiet statements, others even quieter, and there's one that proves even a quarter-liter machine can deliver miles of enjoyment with barely a whisper. Number 10. Kawasaki W650. At first glance, the Kawasaki W650 might trick you into thinking it rolled right out of a 1960s British motorcycle catalog. The upright tank, the twin exhaust, the polished engine cases, it's the full retro look. But sit on it, thumb the starter and ride for a mile, and you'll realize this is one of the smoothest, most comfortable vintage-style bikes a senior rider could ask for. Underneath the retro styling is a 676cc parallel twin engine tuned not for horsepower wars, but for low-end torque and buttery smooth delivery. It has all the vibes of a classic bike without the oil leaks, hard starts, and breakdowns that often come with truly vintage machines. It pulls gently, sounds refined, and feels planted on the road. There's no drama here, just a well-balanced, satisfying ride. The seat is wide, flat, and well-padded, offering real support for longer rides. The handlebar placement encourages a natural upright position, and the low center of gravity means no awkward balancing at stoplights. The suspension soaks up most bumps with grace, and the overall build quality is typical Kawasaki, tough, honest, and built to last. If there's any other motorcycle brand that won't make you feel sore, it's a Harley, especially one with that iconic American silhouette, but with just enough gentleness to make it senior-friendly. You might not expect it, but it also has a long and loyal following. Number 11, Suzuki GN250. Some motorcycles try to impress with speed, others try to wow with size, but the Suzuki GN250 does something far more valuable. It makes riding easy, comfortable, and fun, especially for senior riders seeking simple pleasure without pain. Let's start with the engine. This little Suzuki is powered by a 249cc air-cooled single. And while that might not sound like much on paper, it's more than enough for city riding, country cruising, and weekend escapes. It has that classic thumper vibe, smooth enough to keep things pleasant, yet punchy enough to keep things interesting. You're not going to set any records, but you will absolutely enjoy the journey. What sets the GN250 apart for older riders is its ridiculously comfortable riding position. The seat is low, the bars are upright, and everything about it screams effortless ergonomics. You won't need to stretch, lean, or hunch, you just sit down and ride. At under 300 pounds, it's also extremely manageable for those who want a lightweight, nimble bike that won't strain joints or muscles. Sometimes, less really is more. There's also a Honda twin that flew under the radar, but it might just be the softest ride of them all, and one of the best for seniors. Number 10, Triumph Bonneville T100. There's something about the Triumph Bonneville T100 that just feels right, like slipping into a favorite jacket that still looks sharp after all these years. It's not just the classic British styling or the heritage that stretches back to the 60s. It's the fact that this bike is built for real riders, not just garage show-offs or weekend warriors trying to relive their youth through horsepower alone. The T100 is powered by a 900cc parallel twin, but don't let that scare you. This engine is smooth, linear, and refined, delivering torque low in the rev range, which means you don't have to work the throttle hard to enjoy the ride. Perfect for seniors who want effortless acceleration without feeling like they're wrestling a wild animal. The seating is low and natural, the bars high enough to keep your back straight, and the suspension tuned for comfort rather than track stiffness. Triumph clearly knew there were riders out there who cared more about feeling good on the road than breaking lap records, so they built the T100 just for them. Sometimes the most timeless rides are the ones you don't even feel the need to talk about, until you realize just how often you end up choosing them. Number 9, Harley-Davidson Sportster XLCH. You can't talk about vintage motorcycles without tipping your helmet to Harley-Davidson. For senior riders who still crave that rumble, style, and presence, the Sportster XLCH is one of the best old-school Harleys that actually respects your back. First hitting the streets in the early 60s, this bike earned a reputation for being lean, loud, and straightforward, but not punishing. Unlike the heavyweight baggers and cruisers that came later, this Sportster is far more manageable for everyday riding. At its heart is a 900cc V-twin iron head engine. And yes, it shakes and grumbles, but that's part of the charm. Once it settles in, it becomes a steady, low-end torque machine giving you the grunt you want without needing to rev high or shift constantly. It delivers that unmistakable American rumble, and it feels like you're riding something with a soul. Where it really shines for older riders is in its slim frame and lower weight. Compared to most modern Harleys, the XLCH is relatively light, coming in under 500 pounds, making it easier to handle at parking lot speeds and stoplights. And while it still carries that custom chopper look, the riding position is genuinely comfortable, with mid-mounted pegs and handlebars that don't force you to reach or stretch. And circling back to the Brits, there's a vintage British bike with an outstanding community ready to help with advice and spare parts. That takes nothing away from the XLCH, though it still rides smoother than anything you can imagine. Number 8, Yamaha XS650. There are motorcycles that age gracefully, and then there's the Yamaha XS650, a bike that didn't just survive the decades, it got better with time. For senior riders who want dependability, vintage style, and a ride that feels like an extension of their body, this Japanese twin is the real deal. Introduced in the late 1970s, the XS650 was Yamaha's answer to the big British twins of the day. But unlike its temperamental British cousins, this one came with Japanese engineering, which meant it actually started when you wanted it to. Even better, it didn't mark its territory with oil puddles. The heart of the XS is its 650cc parallel twin, an air-cooled engine with a delightfully linear power curve. It doesn't try to rip your arms off. It doesn't beg to be redlined. Instead, it delivers solid low-end torque and a calm, composed character that makes it perfect for cruising around town or rolling through the countryside. Now let's talk comfort, because there's plenty. The seat is wide and flat, ideal for long rides. The foot pegs are placed just right for a relaxed knee angle. The handlebars are high enough for easy reach without feeling awkward. Add in a relatively low curb weight, and you've got a bike that's very easy to ride. Even if it's been a few years since you last threw a leg over a motorcycle, the XS650 is incredibly easy to maintain, thanks to its straightforward design and tons of available parts. And because it shares a lot of DNA with other Yamaha models, mechanics are familiar with it, or at least willing to learn. That's peace of mind for any older rider who'd rather be riding than wrenching. If you've gotten this far and haven't liked this video or subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Don't forget to hit the bell to be alerted whenever a new video is uploaded. Number 7. Norton Commando 850 Mk3. If you're looking for a vintage motorcycle that looks like it belongs in a museum but rides like a modern classic, the Norton Commando 850 Mk3 might just be your dream machine. It has that unmistakable British silhouette with a long tank, upswept exhaust, spoked wheels, and it delivers a riding experience that's surprisingly gentle, especially for a senior who wants style, history, and real comfort all in one. Built in the mid-1970s, the 850 Mk3 version of the Commando was the final and most polished model of the legendary Norton lineup. Earlier versions had the looks, but this one brought real refinements that made it more reliable, easier to maintain, and most importantly, much smoother to ride. The seat is wide and luxuriously padded, with enough room for a pillion without cramping your legs. The controls are light, the handlebars are ideally placed, and you'll never find yourself stretching or straining. The bike weighs under 500 pounds, making it easy to maneuver for riders who might not want to wrestle with a heavier cruiser. Maintenance-wise, this Norton is simple by today's standards. Regular oil changes and minor tuning go a long way. And yes, finding parts might take a little effort, but there's a passionate Norton community keeping these legends alive, with no shortage of advice, manuals, or spare parts online. Now, have you heard of a vintage machine that might just be the most forgiving motorcycle ever built, and its Japanese simplicity at its finest? Number 6. The Honda CX500. If you're a senior rider looking for a bike that's reliable, effortless to maintain, and unusually comfortable, then the Honda CX500 might just be your kind of machine. Often overshadowed by its louder or flashier cousins, this underrated classic delivers a ride that's smooth, stable, and genuinely relaxing. With shaft drive, simplicity, and a reputation for durability that borders on legendary, the CX series was Honda's answer to the need for a modern mid-size tourer that could go the distance. The 500cc transverse V-twin engine they put in it was nothing short of revolutionary at the time. Liquid-cooled, shaft-driven, and built to outlive you, this engine doesn't just hum, it whispers. Torque is available from very low RPMs, making it ideal for smooth, stress-free riding. Whether you're cruising at 30 miles per hour or 60 miles per hour, that shaft drive means no chain maintenance, no lubing, no stretching, and no mess. For senior riders who don't want to spend weekends adjusting chains or cleaning sprockets, this alone is a major win. In terms of comfort, the CX500 was way ahead of its time. The seat is well cushioned and supportive. The riding posture is neutral and relaxed, and the controls are light to the touch. Whether you have arthritis, back issues, or just want to ride without feeling like you've been hit by a truck afterward, this bike is built to pamper, not punish. Despite being overlooked today, the CX earned its stripes as a long-distance commuter, a round-town cruiser, and a low-maintenance companion. It's not flashy, it's not aggressive, but it's one of those bikes you grow attached to because it just works every time. One 69-year-old rider put it best, and if you think this old Honda was clever, consider this. Its shaft drive eliminates chains entirely. This might be one of the most misunderstood touring bikes ever built. Number 5. Honda CB400F. If you're a senior rider looking for a motorcycle that's lightweight, smooth, easy to handle, and elegantly styled, The Honda CB400F is the quiet achiever you've been searching for. It doesn't scream for attention, but once you ride it, you'll wonder why more bikes aren't built like this, especially for aging bodies that want enjoyment without the strain. Introduced in the mid-1970s, the CB400F was part of Honda's famous CB series, quickly gaining a cult following for being small but mighty. At its core is a 400cc inline-4, a compact marvel of engineering that delivers silky smooth power. It's not intimidating, and it doesn't try to be. Instead, it provides just enough power to make you feel engaged and free, whether navigating city traffic or winding back roads. This bike is easy to ride, easy to park, and thanks to its low seat height and light frame, it feels like an extension of your body. For older riders who want something they can handle confidently at stop signs or in tight spaces, the CB400F offers effortless control without sacrificing style. The seat is plush enough for daily rides, and the foot pegs are positioned to keep your knees relaxed and your posture upright. The ride is so forgiving, it almost feels like Honda designed it specifically for folks who don't want to suffer for the love of motorcycles. Want to be happy too? All you have to do right now is like this video and subscribe to our channel. You'll be surprised. Now, we're getting into the top 3 vintage legends that are still ruling the streets today. Are you ready? Then, let's get into it. Number 4, Suzuki GS850G. If you've ever wondered whether there's a vintage touring motorcycle that's smooth, strong, and built for long rides without tearing your back in half, let us introduce you to the Suzuki GS850G. This bike doesn't make a lot of noise, but it delivers something far more valuable to senior riders. Predictable, relaxed, low-stress performance with features that put it miles ahead of its time. Let's start with what makes it stand out: shaft drive. Like the Honda CX series, the GS850G eliminates chains entirely, meaning less maintenance, no chain slap, no cleaning, and no adjusting. It's just smooth power to the rear wheel every time. And with its air-cooled inline 4-cylinder engine, this Suzuki is as butter smooth as it is bulletproof. At 849cc, it's not overkill, but it gives you more than enough power for effortless highway cruising and all-day comfort. Where it really shines for older riders is in the ride quality. The suspension is tuned for comfort, not sport. The seat is flat and generous, meaning no sore tailbones after a full afternoon in the saddle. And with upright handlebars, well-placed foot pegs, and a reasonable curb weight just under 550 pounds, this bike offers excellent balance and control even at low speeds. Another big plus? Dependability. These GS engines are known to go hundreds of thousands of miles with basic care. Many still run perfectly today, decades after they first rolled off the line. They're also easy to work on, and parts are often readily available, which adds peace of mind to every ride. This Suzuki is proof that sometimes the most overlooked bikes are the ones that treat your body best. But there's a Honda that might be the best vintage city commuter for seniors, and it's got a loyal fan base for good reason. Number 3, Yamaha Virago 535. For senior riders who want classic cruiser looks without the back-breaking weight and noise of bigger bikes, the Yamaha Virago 535 might be the smartest choice out there. It's not flashy, it's not trying to win any races, but it is trying to give you a relaxed, low-stress ride, and on that front it delivers beautifully. This middleweight cruiser from the 1980s has quietly earned a reputation for being remarkably easy to ride and surprisingly comfortable. It features a 533cc V-twin engine, air-cooled and tuned for smooth low-end torque. That means you can roll on the throttle without strain, making it perfect for city cruising or gentle highway runs. The engine hums with just enough attitude to make you feel alive, but never so much that it rattles your fillings. The low seat height makes getting on and off effortless, even for riders with joint stiffness or limited flexibility. The seat itself is wide and cushy, offering real support for longer rides. Combine that with forward foot controls and high, easy-to-reach handlebars, and you've got a riding position that practically says, sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. The Virago 535 also shines in one key area: weight. At just over 400 pounds, it's much lighter than most cruisers, which means it's easy to balance at stops, easy to push around the garage, and easy on your knees and back. For older riders, that matters far more than raw horsepower. And the shaft drive? No mess, no fuss, no chain adjustments, just pure, clean, direct power to the wheel. But if you thought this Yamaha was friendly, what would you say about a bike that looks like a café racer, rides like a tourer, and has an attitude all its own? Number 2, BMW R80/7. There's something almost zen-like about riding a BMW R80/7. For senior riders seeking sophistication, balance, and a ride that feels more like gliding than rumbling, this vintage German icon might just be the best-kept secret in motorcycling. Built in the late 1970s and early 1980s, this bike wasn't designed to impress crowds. It was built to last, ride smoothly, and keep your body intact after 100 miles on the saddle. At its core is a 798cc boxer twin engine, horizontally opposed for perfect balance and natural smoothness. Unlike upright twins or high-revving fours, this engine feels effortless, especially at low to mid RPMs. The torque is there when you need it, not sudden, not peaky, just a reliable surge that helps you cruise along with total confidence. The low center of gravity also gives this bike a grounded, planted feel, whether you're taking a tight corner or rolling through a long curve. And then there's that famous BMW shaft drive, no chain, no grease, no drama, just a quiet, direct connection to the road that stays strong year after year. It's one of the reasons so many BMWs from this era are still going strong at hundreds of thousands of miles. What makes the R80/7 particularly senior-friendly is its riding position. The handlebars are set wide and high, encouraging an upright, natural posture. The seat is firm but generously padded, offering real support without feeling like you're sitting on a squishy couch. Now let's end it with, number 1, a big bad bike that still manages to fly under the radar. The legend among legends, the gem among gems. Can you guess what bike this is? Number 1, Moto Guzzi V50. This compact, lightweight Italian masterpiece may not scream horsepower or dominate spec sheets, but it offers something far more important to senior riders: balance, style, and a ride with heart. The V50 features a 443cc V-twin mounted transversely. Just like its bigger Moto brothers, it's air-cooled, simple, and surprisingly charismatic for such a small displacement. The engine delivers a steady, predictable pull, perfect for around-town cruising, gentle weekend tours, or casual back-road exploring. There's just enough character in that engine to make you smile every single time it starts. What makes this bike ideal for older riders is its ultra-lightweight design. Tipping the scales at around 390 pounds, the V50 feels effortless to move, balance, and maneuver. Parking lots aren't a chore, U-turns aren't intimidating, and stop-and-go traffic doesn't leave you sweating. It's like having a vintage bicycle that just happens to roar to life when you twist the throttle. The low seat height and upright riding position add another layer of comfort, especially for shorter riders or those with reduced flexibility. The suspension is simple but plush, soaking up most road imperfections without drama. And despite its age and simplicity, the V50 carries that unmistakable Moto Guzzi presence. The classic tank shape, the proud eagle logo, the unique rumble. These vintage machines aren't just bikes, they're trusted companions built to last and ride with grace. If you're a senior looking for style without sacrifice, any one of these could be your perfect match. These are the 13 perfect vintage motorcycles for seniors. Did we miss a bike that deserves a spot on the list? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more motorcycle content, and as always, ride safe. See you in the next one.